Sanibonani Dumelang Amsheni. Hello. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. We are back with a new video after I don't know how many months, but anyway, we're not here for that. We are here for the content. We are here for today's message. Just to recap, it is 2022. Hello. Today is the 26th of May, and I am recording this for a series I want to start in June. Hopefully June will be like my consistent month, and July will be amazing with amazing content. I can't reveal what just as yet, but it is coming soon. And yeah, so I have been led for a long time. I got this message around Easter. Well, I got it around Jan actually, and then it was reaffirmed in Easter. And yesterday I read someone's status, and it was a Bible verse that was speaking about how when God sends you to do something and you don't do it, he will pass it on to someone else. And I was like, ooh, okay, that is now high time that I get off my butt and I make it happen. It's just been very tough to record, to just be in the moment of YouTube, because life has been, yeah, man. Oh, and yo, I am shooting from a camera, from the Canon EOS. Finally! Thank you, baby. So I'm finally shooting with my Christmas present. Imagine, like, only after this time. So I'm still like adjusting to like where I look and stuff like that, because it's obviously different from shooting with your phone. So today's video is about seasons in life, you know, the garden, and recognizing what season you are in your life. So we have to firstly start by recognizing that the garden is a very important aspect in like our faith, and it is a very important place, right? Because everything starts in the garden, you understand? And the funny thing is, not even the funny thing, but like the way God works, you know, is like just before our salvation, Jesus went into the garden. So I mean, you know, like it's gonna make sense just now, I promise. But if it hasn't already had that oh wow moment to you, I promise I'm gonna make it make sense. But the garden is very important in our lives, because that is the seasons that we are in and the seasons that we will experience in our lives. So our reading today will be taken from Matthew 26 verse 36 to 45. So I've got my Bible over here and I've got my phone, but I like the version that is on my phone. It's the amplified version, so I'm going to read from there. So it says, then Jesus came with them to a place called Gethsemane, Olive Press, and he told his disciples, sit here while I go over there and pray. And taking with him Peter and the two sons of Zebedee, James and John, he began to be grieved and greatly distressed. He began, okay. And then he said to them, my soul is deeply grieved, so that I am almost dying of sorrow. Stay here and stay awake and keep watch with me. And going a little further, he fell face down and prayed, saying, my Father, if it is possible, that is consistent with your will, let this cup pass from me, yet not as I will, but as you will. And he came to the disciples and found them sleeping, and said to Peter, so you men could not stay awake and keep watch with me for 1 hour. Keep actively watching and praying, that you may not come into temptation. The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. He went away a second time and prayed, saying, my Father, if this cannot pass away unless I drink it, your will be done. Again he came and found them sleeping, for their eyes were heavy. So leaving them again, he went away and prayed the third time, saying the same words once more. Then he returned to the disciples and said to them, "Are you still sleeping and resting? Listen, the hour of my sacrifice is at hand, and the Son of Man is to be betrayed into the hands of sinners, whose way and nature is opposed to God. Get up, let us go. Look, my betrayer is near." So this verse, or this gospel rather, is one that we have heard many times before, especially during the Good Friday Easter time, right? So the significance of this verse in today's chat that we're having is the garden. It is the location in which certain things happen in your life, right? So it happened, our beginning happened in the Garden of Eden, with the story of Adam and Eve. And that was where the first test of God took place, and that was where Eve ate of the fruit that she was not supposed to eat from. But we have been redeemed now by Christ, and our salvation is now being in Christ, who came, but his last moments were in the Garden of Gethsemane, in the oil press. And when I say the oil press, it reminds me of the song by Hillsong, New Wine. In the crushing, you are making new wine. And in oil press, we need to, the olives need to be pressed so that oil can come out. So essentially, the Garden of Gethsemane is the place in which olives are crushed in order for them to bring oil into the world, right? So Jesus is going in to have his fleshly desires crushed and to find strength in doing God's will, right? So he prays 3 times the same prayer, that Lord, make this cup go away. Those are his flesh desires. But he says, but if it is not your will, then let it not happen, So he has to go through the Garden of Gethsemane in order for his personal flesh requests to be crushed, in order for God's will to take place, right? So this brings me to the point that we might not understand everything that is going on, what your next step in life is going to be, but we can trust the one who has given you the vision for your life. God gave him the vision that he needs to go into the garden to pray. And he had already been given the vision that he would have to be crucified. So he knew what was going to come, but he wanted to go there just to pray, and be closer to God in that space and in that moment, to crush his fleshly desires. It says in this gospel that we read that the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak, So we need to have the grace and obedience to do God's will in our lives. This is a spirit of obedience that is practiced heavily. He had to take his fleshly desires and have them crushed in order for what? For there to be oil, for there to be salvation for us. So your location can be a great influence on your obedience. Where you are postured in life will allow you to be obedient or not obedient to God's will. Your location is a place of testing. It is a place of great temptation, and it is a place for preparation for our purpose. So when you find yourself in a season, you need to recognize, is this a season of testing? Is it a season of temptation? Is it a season of preparation? And usually we give up in the season of crushing, and that is the part in which breakthrough is right there. When you just feel like, God, I can't do this anymore, but if it is your will, let it be. where you feel like, God, I've prayed, I've fasted, I've done everything, like what am I supposed to do? That is the place of obedience. That is the place where you need to exercise obedience and faith, because that is the split second between success and not success, And don't forget, the prayers that you send out, the devil hears it. So he knows your weaknesses. And there's a song that I love that speaks about cycles, where it speaks on how the devil, he listens to your mistakes and he looks at what you do, and he uses those mistakes in order to keep you in cycles and keep you in motions and keep you in the same stagnant place, So I'm just gonna wait for the security to pass because his walkie-talkie is making a noise. Okay, so we've covered location, right? So location is a very great space for you. It is your place of preparation for your purpose, right? So the next part is the people around you. So the interesting part in this gospel is that in verse 36, it says, Jesus went with his disciples to a place of Gethsemane, right? When they got there, he told them, sit here while I go over there and pray. Jesus took along Peter and the two brothers, James and John. So he took everyone to the garden. So all the disciples are there in the garden. But he only took Peter, John, and James with him to the mountain to go pray. Right. So this should show you that the people around you also have an influence in the season that you are in life. Right. So he knew that he was about to go through a difficult time. So he needed to surround himself with the right people. Sometimes you don't need to bring everyone on a specific journey or on a specific season in your life, but only selected people can go through that journey with you. But another interesting thing is that he went a little further on his own, so that just brings you to the lesson that some journeys are walked alone. Sometimes God will call you into a place where you need to go there alone, so that you can be able to properly discern his voice and his purpose for you, because he can't hotspot your purpose to another person. He's not going to tell your best friend that, girl, Karabo's purpose in life will be this or that. No. That'll be a personal encounter that you have with God, where you can be able to properly discern his voice and discern where he is leading you. So he has led you to the garden. He has put you in this season in your life, and the amazing thing about seasons is that there will be summer, there will be autumn, there will be spring and winter, so you need to remember those transitions, that it will not always be cold and it will not always have the trees falling, the leaves falling off the trees. It will not always be blazing hot, so it will not always be warm and comfortable. So you need to realize the season that you're in your life, and realize the location that you are in, because God will always lead you. He will always lead you like he led Jesus into the garden, into the oil press. You need to realize that the garden holds a significant meaning in our lives. It's the seasons in our lives that God will bring you to a place where he needs you to pray. God will bring you to a place where he needs you to be desperate for his love, for him to show his power through you, and everything that we do should be for God's glory. So, location and the people around you. Those are two very important points that you need to remember whenever you go through a specific season in your life. So that video was very short, and was very straight to the point, but I hope it blessed you in any way possible. And I just wanted to say thank you for watching. Please comment, like, subscribe, share with your friends. Share, important. It is so important for you to share, you know, because this could honestly heal and be the answer to someone's prayers. And our prayer requests are back, so I will add the link down below, and you can just drop your prayer request. It can be anonymous, and I will be praying with you throughout that request or that journey. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed. Thank you. Till next time.